Hello and welcome to Cookery with Mason Storm. In today's episode we're going to look at making a roasted pumpkin pecan bundt cake. My mother's been making this recipe for years. I don't know where it originally came from, and I'm sure she's modified more than a few ingredients in it. So it is what it is. In the previous video I showed how to prepare a pumpkin for use in baking, so we're going to be using that in this recipe. If you don't want to make your own pumpkin like I did in the last video, feel free to use pumpkin from a can. Just make sure you don't have any spiced pumpkin or anything, because that'll really change the flavor of the end cake. Okay, ingredients. 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of ground ginger, 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, 1/4 teaspoon of allspice, 1 2/3 cups brown sugar, 3/4 cups of vegetable oil, 3/4 cups roasted pecans, 2 cup pumpkin, 2.5 cups of flour, and for the glaze, 1/4 cup of butter, 2/3 cup of brown sugar, 1/4 cup of rum, 3 tablespoons of water. Okay, I have a mixing bowl with a sieve on it. Now I'm just going to sift my flour, just to make sure I don't have any clumpies in there and any oddballs can be removed from the mix. And now I'm going to add my baking powder and my baking soda, and I'm just going to sift those as well. Clumps of those taste terrible. And now that that's all added, just going to give it kind of a quick mix with the whisk and then set it aside. In another bowl I've added the pumpkin, the brown sugar, the oil, and then we're just going to give it a quick little bit of a mix to get everything kind of combined. Work that oil into the mix. Add our spices, mix it a little bit more. Then we're going to add our eggs and mix it again a little bit more. We don't want to like overbeat the eggs, that's why we put them in kind of last. So just something to be kind of concerned about. You don't want to overbeat your eggs. Okay, now we'll add our pecans, and we'll just give them a quick stir that they're incorporated, and then we're going to add half our dry mix to this, and then we'll just kind of mix it in nice and gently. And once that's somewhat combined, we'll add the other half of it. There we go. Doesn't take very long. Perfect. Looking really good. Just mixing it a little bit more now that all of it's added. And we'll try to get it all off the edges of the bowl so it's no powderness anywhere. Meanwhile, get a bundt pan ready. And by ready I mean spray it with cooking oil and then lightly powder the inside of it so that there's a chance this thing will come out. And then we can just dump it all in and make sure it's evenly distributed, and you can kind of give it a little bit of a tap to kind of get the thing to sag down to where you want it to be. That should go relatively smoothly. Make sure you get all of it out because this cake is delicious. You don't want to waste any. Spatula works best for cleaning out a bowl. There we go. And into the oven we go. 350 degrees, about 50 minutes. Check with a toothpick. Now about 10 minutes before the cake is ready, we're going to start making our glaze. So we're going to start with putting our saucepan on the stove. We'll go to a medium heat, and then we'll start by adding our butter. And then we're just going to let the butter melt, so we're going to let that do its thing for 3 or 4 minutes, or however long it takes for your stove to melt the butter. And then we can add our brown sugar and give it a little bit of a mix. Then our rum, as well as the water. Now what we're going to do now is we're just going to heat this up till it kind of like simmers and thickens up. So it's just a controlled cooking process. And just keep stirring it occasionally so it doesn't burn or anything, but it does take quite a bit of time. And it really does take the cake to the next level. And depending on how long you cook it for, you can even thicken it right up and it becomes like its own like taffy, and that's quite delicious as well. And as we see here in the footage, it's really foaming up like crazy, and this is what we want. We want it to kind of be at this level, and we're just going to keep cooking it while it's foaming away like this. That's when you're at about the right temperature. And it does take time to thicken up. I think if you added a little bit less water, it would probably go a little bit quicker, but it is what it is. You'll really feel the doneness or the thickening of this as you stir it. It gives a lot of resistance once it gets closer to being done. The other thing you can do is lift some up in your spoon and pour it and see how viscous it is. And as it thickens up, you'll notice it. At just the rate that it pours out of your spoon, you can really feel it thickening up. And then we'll take it off the stove and we're good to go. Now, with any luck, your cake will be ready at the same time as your glaze, or close to anyway. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take our cake and we're going to flip it upside down out of the bundt pan onto a cooling rack strainer type of thing. What we're going to do is we're going to take our glaze and we're going to pour it over the top and just kind of let it dribble down. And because it's raised up on the cooling tray, it will drip down to the plate below it. So what we're able to do is we're able to take the drippings that come off of it and bring them back to the top and pour them over the cake again, so we get even more coverage. And you can do that a few times till the stuff starts to really cool off, and then it hardens into like a taffy, and then you're kind of done, unless you want to try to reheat it and do it again. But you should be able to get it going in one go. Probably have 90% or so coverage of the glaze sealed into the cake. And now we're done. This is quite a delicious cake, so cut it up, plate, and serve. And tell me in the comments below how you make your pumpkin cake. To see more of this, please like and subscribe. And until next time, stay awesome.